Hi everyone, today it is cabbage and ground beef. Let me show you. I'm using a small cabbage. I've already cut it into quarters. Now I'm just cutting out the core of each quarter. And then I'm going to be cutting it kind of in large chunks, breaking them apart as I go. Nice little chunks like that. I don't want them shredded too small, y'all. And then I'm using a medium onion, cutting it pretty much the same way into chunks, chopping it into chunks. And the same for 2 cloves of garlic. Just chopping it up into small pieces. Now I'm going to be browning 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I'm using 80/20 ground beef. Now you don't have to use this much ground beef, but I like a lot of meat in my cabbage. Now I'm just browning it as you see here. And once it's brown, I'm now adding my chopped onion and garlic. And I'm going to let that cook for about 5 minutes before adding 1 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, juice and all. And then I also like to use tomato paste in my cabbage and hamburger. And I'm going to be using a total of a 1/2 cup of it. Just mixing it in really, really well. And I'm going to let this simmer for a minute, y'all, before adding my seasoning. Now, that is a pack of beef bouillon, y'all. Anyway, powder that I've just added. You are about a tablespoon. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, along with a 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika and a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne coming up. That's 2/4 that I'm putting in there. Makes a 1/2. And then I'm going to be salt and peppering it to my taste as I go. And right now, that's just a little fingerful, as you can see, but I'm also adding about a teaspoon of sugar just to cut the acidity in the tomato and tomato paste. Now I'm giving it a really good little stir, testing it right now, tasting it to make sure I don't need to add anything else, y'all, before adding my cabbage, y'all. And it looks like it may not fit, but we know how cabbage starts out looking until it cooks down. So I'm just letting it cook down. And as it cooks down, I'm mixing everything together. And then once I get it cooked down just like that, I'm going to cover it and let it cook on a medium for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then after 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to check on it again, y'all. And all I'm doing is just letting the cabbage now cook until it becomes tender the way I like it. And then along the way, I'm just still sprinkling in, adding another layer of the seasoning as I see fit. And I'm just adding more cayenne and a little bit more cumin you just see me add. And I also added a little bit more of salt here and there. And right here, I just tested for tenderness. And it's well on its way. You see a little bit more salt I just added, y'all. stirring the pot as we always do. You want to keep that pot of cabbage stirred. And y'all, this is after about 30 to 45 minutes of cooking. Let's test it out. And I am guessing, yes, this is done. And this is what we have here, y'all. And I am having this today, y'all, with some hot water cornbread. Yes, I am. Absolutely. And here I am telling you, showing you just how delicious this cabbage and hamburger with this hot water cornbread is. But you don't have to take my word for it, y'all. I'm just telling you. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.